noi andiamo avanti perché è il momento di chiamare sul palco il cofondatore di flus.com, Tey Elrjula, che ci perdoni per la pronuncia se l'abbiamo sbagliata. Tey!
Eccolo, eccolo!
Facciamo noi l'applauso. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's not my first time in Italy, but it's my first time as a Dutch man in Italy. I used to come here as a refugee, hence the title of my talk, The Invisible Man, Visible Change. The title Invisible Men is given to people without identity. And I was fortunate to be one of them. Why fortunate, if you're asking, is because I found my purpose in life in the most unexpected places on earth, which is a refugee camp. My name is Tey. I am the co-founder of a startup in the Netherlands called flus.com. We are a crypto platform. Besides my role as the co-founder at flus.com, I have a Master's of Sciences in Digital Currencies and Blockchain Technology. And I wrote a book documenting my journey, not only as a refugee, but as a person who was born in Kuwait, who lived in Lebanon, who lived in Dubai, and came to the Netherlands. Now, in the Netherlands, I came as a skilled immigrant. I came to work, and from 2010 till 2014, I was just like many of you in this room, working. I have a passport, I have a social security number, I have an insurance card, I cheer for my local football team, and I drink beer, I eat pizza, a normal human being, I would say. But in 2014, life changed. I realized that my residency expired in Holland or in the Netherlands, and because my father is Syrian, I carry the Syrian nationality, I was asked to leave the country and go back where I came from. So as I told you, I'm born in Kuwait, I lived in Lebanon, I lived in Dubai, and I came to the Netherlands. In 2014, it's the climax of the Syrian civil war, so I couldn't go back to Kuwait because you need a visa. If you are born in Kuwait, you're not Kuwaiti. So my father doesn't own oil wells, we're not rich. If you want to go to Lebanon, you need a visa. If you need to go to Dubai, you need a visa. So the only option for me to stay in the country was to apply for asylum. As you can imagine, life in an asylum camp or a refugee camp is not that great, especially when it comes to food. For breakfast, we had cheese and bread. For lunch, we had 2 boiled eggs and a cup of soup. And for dinner, it was half-cooked vegetables with some rice. Part of my work in the Netherlands before becoming a refugee was the technology sector, and hence I came in touch with Bitcoin in 2012. I'm one of the first Bitcoin miners in Holland. So when I went to the camp, I had my clothes and I had this device, my smartphone. So there in the refugee camp, I got acquainted to the type of food, but at a certain period of time, I said, basta, it's enough. I missed the pizza, I missed the burgers, I missed the cola. So I was sitting there in the room and I remembered that the first product sold on the Bitcoin network, in fact, was a pizza back in 2010. Perhaps you've heard of this story. 10,000 Bitcoins were paid for 2 Papa John's pizzas in the United States. And this was 2010. There I was, 2014, the Bitcoin price was $600 on average in 2014, and I'm sitting in this refugee camp, looking at the ceiling and remembering this story. So what do you think happened next? I went on the internet and I Googled pay Bitcoin and order pizza. And in the Netherlands, we have a website that is like takeaway.com, and they accept Bitcoin for payments. So I looked at the options of payments. You can pay with your Visa card, you can pay with PayPal, you can pay with Ideal, the local payment network of the Netherlands, but I can't use those services. I don't have an identity. The only option open for me was to pay with Bitcoin, which I did. I ordered exactly the same order, 2 large pepperoni pizzas, and I delivered them to the refugee camp in Holland. Now, refugee camps in Holland are improved prisons. So there is the delivery guy holding 2 pizzas in his hand at the door of the prison, and he's fighting with the security guards. He wants to enter and deliver those pizzas, and nobody could believe that someone inside that camp have ordered the pizza. It was February, cold, so the pizza started to give this smell, and I smelled it in my room immediately. So I ran to the door and I told him, hey, I paid for those pizzas with Bitcoin. And nobody could believe that. Nobody could believe that today you can include yourself in a financial system by simply using a smartphone and an application without asking your first name, your last name, your date of birth, your credit card number, your address, your insurance, your social security number, your PO box, your telephone number. All those details, your personal identifying information, are not needed to get access to financial services today. Now, why this is important? Because this is not just about my story. This is what I thought back in 2014, that I'm perhaps one of the few exceptions in the world that do not have an identity and cannot access financial services during that period of time. It turned out there is 290 million children under the age of 5 who are invisible, who do not have identity documents. We have 1.7 billion people around the world without identity documents. Without an ID, you cannot get a bank account. You cannot get a credit card, you cannot get PayPal, and you can get financial services. So Bitcoin for me at that point in time was an eye-opener, and it changed my perspective that this technology is much more about speculation. It is about financial inclusion. It's about giving hope for people who do not have access to finance, that they can access it today simply with a smartphone and an internet connection. Yes, it fluctuates in price. Yes, it's not stable, but ask people from Lebanon, what does Bitcoin mean to them? It's a life-saving technology. Because that experience that I went through inside a refugee camp, today a whole country is going through it. And many of us during the COVID times, we lived as refugees. Even if you are not one, you were confined to your homes, you were studying online, and you could not meet your parents. Everything has to be done through a camera, through digital platforms. So all this digital means of communication should be followed by digital means of transactions. Anyone from now on who would tell you, yeah, this Bitcoin thing is done for surveillance, this Bitcoin thing is just speculation, this Bitcoin thing is worthless, tell them the story of the pizza, not the one that was paid with 10,000 bitcoins, but this man who ordered a pizza to the refugee camp, because Bitcoin is more than hype, it's about hope. Thank you for being here, and hopefully we'll see you next year again. Thank you so much.